Hello everybody, here we are in my studio and we're going to do a little tuition video on how to make these lovely little cactuses, model cactuses in plant pots. Okay, so today to make these we're going to need some double-sided sticky tape, some scissors, be careful if they're sharp, paper cup, some string, some white glue, standard PVA glue, something to apply it with, stick or something similar. We need some white dough, this is air dry dough, red air dry dough, green and blue air dry dough, so we've got the three primary colours, and some black and white, so we've got tonals, and some green wire, and a piece of newspaper. We don't need all of it, get rid of that. Okay, so this is how we start. Let's just put this to one side for a second. So the first thing you need to do is cut your wire, and it's quite straightforward. We don't need too much of it. I've done quite a lot already, as you can see here. So basically we just need short lengths of wire like this, which are going to be our spikes later. So a little bit of preparation to start with, that's the best way to go, and then if you get everything ready to start with, the actual assembly of our model will go very smoothly. So as we've spoken before in our art classes, everything's about construction, so we need to just consider the shapes that we're looking at making and how they're constructed and work together. Okay, so we've got these, let me just put this to one side. We've got these little cactuses, they're different shades, so I'll show you how to make the different shades of green. We don't want it all uniform. And we've got some soil in the bottom and a little pebbles as well. Okay, so that's what we're aiming to make. Okay, so we've got our pieces ready, we've got our dough, we've got our paper. We just need our cup and I'll begin to make it. So put your string to one side. Okay, and the first thing we need to do is take our double-sided sticky tape and apply 4 pieces evenly around the cup. We might as well start on the seam. Stick it on nice and neatly. And using your scissors, just trim it off as close to flush with the bottom of the mug as you can. And I'll do the next one just opposite that one. So the opposite on the other side, directly across the cup from the first one. So evenly spaced. We should be able to segment this cup into quarter sections with the double-sided tape. And so I'll put one here, halfway between the other two. Like so. And last piece opposite to that one. So about there. Hasn't got to be just perfect, but close enough is good enough. As long as it's fairly neat, that's fine. So we don't need the double-sided sticky tape anymore, we'll get rid of that. Next thing, we just need to peel this tape. It can be a little bit tricky, but if you're patient with it, it just peels off like so. That one was much easier. And that one, quite often you'll find if you just flick it and then roll your finger on the top, you'll just manage to pick up an edge. Careful not to take the actual tape, just the backing. There we go, got it. Okay, so now we've got sticky all around the cup. The next thing we need to do, we don't need those anymore, is apply our string. Okay, so this, you need to be quite neat with it. So start with one of the sticky sections and attach one end of the string, and then we just need to work our way around the cup, neatly applying the string. Okay, so it sits nice and close to itself all the way around the cup. Now this is going to take me quite some time, so in true style and homage, I have one that I prepared earlier. Okay, so you get the idea. You do this all the way down the cup until you end up with the end of your string, and you'll have one that looks like this. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So the whole sides of the cup's covered with the string. Boom, there we are. Right, so now we have our cup base ready to go. The next thing we need to do is fill the cup up with something. Now, it'd be silly to fill it all up with dough. It's a big space, and we need to get it up to the rim here like this, and then apply our earth. So the best thing to fill that with is a piece of newspaper. I've got one here. We just need one sheet, so get rid of that piece. And get rid of that. And I suspect I only need a half. So get rid of that piece. Now then, just make sure that you've got enough to fill your cup up. By just checking the fit. Don't need to fill it completely. It needs to have about 2 centimeters of space at the top. So just a little bit of finger depth there. Okay, so that's perfect. Now we need to make sure that that stays in the cup, and to do that we're going to use our friend the PVA glue. Get your glue ready. Using something to apply the glue with, not your finger. We just need to spread this around a little bit on the inside of the cup. It doesn't need a lot, just enough to hold the paper in place. A little bit more. That should be more than enough. So just a little bit. We'll keep the glue open because we're going to need that again shortly. And now we just push our piece of paper down inside, tucking it around. Try and make that as flat as possible. Okay, leaving our little bit of space here. Okay, everybody got that? Good. Okay, the next thing we need to do is make our soil. So we need to make a brown coloured dough, and we've got 3 colours. So how do we do this? Well, it's quite straightforward. The first thing we need to do is make orange. Okay, so earth is a little orange and brown is a dark orange, you could say. So let's first of all unwrap our red dough. How much do I need? Not too much. And then red and yellow make orange. Obviously the more yellow you add to your dough, the oranger and lighter it's going to be. So think about how your earth might look. So I'm just going to take some of this out. Maybe about that much. So that's the size of a ping pong ball, I'd say. We'll just wrap the old dough up. So we don't want it to dry out yet. We're going to be needing that again in a minute to help make our cactuses. Okay, so we'll put that to one side. Now I want mine to be quite light, so I'm just going to add half of this red. Again, about a ping pong ball size. So there's our pieces of red and yellow dough, which are going to make our the base colour orange of our soil. Okay, so the way you mix these together is you just squish them together like this and then pull them apart. Squish them together and pull them apart. Okay, it's the quickest way of doing it. You just gradually mix them together like so. Okay. Keep going. Okay, and there's our orange. See, it didn't take too long and it's come together. Okay, like that. That's perfect. That's a nice base orange colour. Now it's best to keep this on top of a piece of cellophane, otherwise it's going to stick to your desk, so just put it there. Now to make this into brown, we need to add a little bit of blue. So blue and orange makes brown. Some of this blue, there's a bit of red in it there already, so I'll make sure I take that. That should be more than enough to create the brown that we need to emulate soil. Okay, so wrap that back up, put it to one side. Okay, so same as before. Just pull it, fold it, pull it, fold it, pull it, fold it, pull it, fold it. Like this. And as you can see, it turns quite quickly from the nice orange. We're starting to get brown streaks in it, and it's changing into a nice earthy colour brown, which is exactly what we want. So make sure that's all nice and smooth. There's our brown colour. Okay, everyone agree that's brown coloured? Okay, so that's our saw, and that's going to go into the top of there. We just need to take a rough idea of how much we're going to need of that. We don't need all of it. Okay, so just going to pinch that piece off. Really, I should have some cellophane to wrap it up in so it doesn't get wasted. I'll use this one from the glue. So take whatever spare clay you have left, or modelling clay you have left, air dry clay, and pop it in to some cellophane. You can always save that for a rainy day and another project. Okay, so we need to make sure this sticks to that, and therefore we need our friend the glue again. So we just dob this around inside here, like so. That's it. Make sure the side's got some on the sides, on the paper. There's just a bit of glue all over, like that. That's perfect. And then we take our earth, make a rough shape to fill our cup, and put it in, like this. Okay? Hasn't got to be perfect. Not have to be flat. Want some texture in there. It needs to pretend to be mud after all. Okay? And that's where we are now. Okay, so what's next? Obviously, we need to make some little cactuses, don't we? So the easy way to make those is obviously first thing we need to do is make some green. So we all know how to make green. It's blue and yellow. Blue and yellow make green. And I want some different shades. So I'm going to use different quantities of the blue and yellow just to make a couple of different shades of green. Okay, so the first one I'd like it to be more yellowy, a lighter green. So I'm going to use approximately a ping pong ball size piece of yellow and half of that of blue. Okay, I'll just mash this together. Remember, there's no rush with art. The idea is to enjoy yourself and relax and enjoy the process of what you're making. Think about what you're making, and you'll enjoy yourselves more. Okay, so that's quite a nice light coloured green we've got there. It's not quite smooth yet, so just a little bit more. And the next one, I'd like it to be a little darker. So this time I'm going to use a ping pong ball sized piece of blue and about half of that in yellow. So this one should make a mintier green. Now then, if this is still a little bit too blue, I can always add more. You can always add more, but you can't take it out obviously once you've got it to this stage. Maybe it's a little bit too blue. I'm just going to put a small smidgen of yellow in just to bring it out a little bit more. Okay. And I'm happy enough with that. So there's our two greens. Remember to wrap up your dough so it doesn't, your modelling clay, so it doesn't go dry. Okay, so here we are, we've got our greens, and we just need to make these into our little cactuses. Now it's an idea, you don't have to do this, but you can use these pieces of wire not only for spikes but also to help attach and form your cactuses. So the first ones I'm going to make, I think I'll make a little round one. I'll just pull a little piece of this dough off, simply roll it around, and I think I'll put it here. Let's get this so you can see. And it's quite simple. A little bit of glue just on the bottom there, and just plop that in there like that. Just put some texture on it. That's perfect. And then I'd like another one of those, I think, but a little bit bigger. So a bit more dough, a bit more modelling clay, and we'll roll this into another little round one. Now you can do all sorts with these. You can put lines in them like this to give them some texture. Okay, make them more plant-like. Like that. A little bit of glue on the bottom. And we'll put that in place. See, so pretty cool using the scissors. You can use anything you've got to hand. I mean, I could use the edge of this stick. Okay, and now in the background I just want to make a little sequoia style cactus. So this one, we need to make a kind of a sausagey body for it. Like that. And because it's a bit taller, it might need a bit of support. So that's where I said about the small pieces of wire we've got. So we just need to put a bit of glue. Dropped it, silly boy. A bit of glue on the end of that. If you get glue on your fingers, don't worry too much. A bit of glue on the end of there, and just push it in like so. Okay, if you get glue on your fingers, just rub it around and it'll come off. Okay, like that. And then that other end can stick in there. And there we have a taller cactus. But what do we need on it? We need some arms, don't we? So we have to remember this is going to weigh a little bit, so don't make them too big. That's about fine. Okay. And again, because it's going on the side here, just get that to sit nicely. There we are. Cactuses are a bit fatter at the bottom. We're going to sit here. I'm going to use another piece of wire just to put inside there. So again, a little bit of glue on the end of there. I'm going to put it in the end like that, and then I'm going to bend the whole thing a little bit like this. Okay, get the other end of the wire in the glue. Just think about how it's going to look. And that can go in there like that. Okay, so you get the idea how your cactus is going to be built, okay, and formed. Just even it up. I think I'm just going to do 3 cactuses in this pot. So same thing again, get a little piece of wire, bit of glue just in the end there, like that. Just going to bend it a little bit, get the other end in the glue, and this one can go in there like that. Okay, so there's our basic cactuses. They look pretty cool, I think. Got a couple of pieces of wire left on our cellophane. I'll just put that back. Okay, and we'll keep our green doughs wrapped up like that. They're not touching each other, but they're also not exposed to the air. Now then, the next thing we need to do is make our little pebbles, and for that we just need a little bit of white air dry clay. Now I don't need very much for this, and even less black. Okay, so I think I'll probably need half of that, so just a small amount. Very sticky, this white one. Oh. Okay. Right, so we've got our little bit of white. Right, so we've got our little piece of white here, and we just need a very small amount of black. It will dry darker, so we just need a tiny bit, not even that much. Maybe about that's the correct ratio of white to black. Just that much there. Okay, and put that to one side. Now we need to mix this together. It hasn't got to be perfect because we might want a little bit of marbling. Like before though, we don't seem to put much black in there. Oh, this is so sticky, this white. So we just want to mix it together until we get a kind of a marbly grey black colour, or grey colour. Like that, that's fine. Now you can either make these and then put the glue on them and put them on individually, but what I like to do is just pop a bit of glue in where I want the stones to go. So for me, I think it's just going to be just here. I think I don't need too many. Just something to make a nice composition up that feels balanced. So the first one, we just roll it around. Hasn't got to be perfect. Rocks are not always perfectly round. Just pop it on the glue there. Not worried about how they're coming off. Not making them uniform sizes. Just as they are. I'll put those in their position, roughly. Smaller one there. And another small one. A little bit bigger. Just pile them up a little bit like rocks would be. There we are in our desert. Now then, do I need any more? I might do. And just put a little one in here maybe, and then a couple over here. I think that should be right, and then maybe one there. Okay, so you can just put as many in as you like, many or as few as you like. Pretty nice one. Put that there, that's fine. A little bit bigger. There we are. Now I'm just going to put two here. One and a slightly bigger one. There, like that. Right, that's our rocks in. Okay, so that's fine. So don't waste it. You might want to make more. Nice little presents to give out to your grandparents or your aunties and uncles. I'm sure they'd like them. Right, so there we are. We've got our little cactus desert scene. I think that's pretty cool. And the last thing we need to do to make it look more cactusy is give them spikes, of course. So that's very easy. It's very simple. We don't need our stick for that. We just need our pieces of wire here, our pieces of wire and our cactuses. And we just take a few in our hand like this, and then just quite simply dip them in the glue. If they're longer, just push them in until you've got the right size spike, okay? Like this. And we just do all of our cactuses. It's best to work from the bottom up. Because otherwise you'll be spiking your fingers. We don't want that. Okay, that needs to be fairly random. We don't want it too uniform, quite natural looking. Okay, and one more. Once you get the idea, you can just put them in as you like them. Like that. We'll put some in this one. That's it, just work around. Again, take as long as you need, there's no rush. It's not a race. There's a little one. And again, you can push these through and help straighten your cactuses. There's arms, you can push that, do like that. Making all spiky. Don't need too many of these. 20 or 30 should be enough. Even less, if you're not making super spiky, they can just be a little bit like this. A suggestion of spikiness. Okay. Like two more in there, and we'll look at this one. I'm not using a different from that, not entirely sure yet. I think there, maybe spike. I think maybe one more here, like that. Okay, that one's done. Now this one, I think I'm just going to put my spikes in grooves, not many of them. Like that. in this one. Especially one time this way, otherwise we're never going to group together. That's nice. Like that. Now sometimes, as we can see at the plant shop, or the nursery as they're called, we get flowers on cactus, don't we? And we can get yellow flowers, and some of them have red flowers, and I think some of them might even have blue flowers. But for me, I think I'm going to maybe just quickly, I think just a little splash of red here will look very nicely in a composition. So I'm just going to get my little bit of red dough out. I'll put a little bit of glue just in the middle here to prepare for it. Okay, and I'm just going to make a quick flower. Now this red was quite sticky, wasn't it? So got to be a little bit careful with it. Make a flower. I can just make a little ball like that and squash it. Okay, and just make it roughly into a kind of a flowery shape. Just put it on like that. It's a bit much like a mouth. Just open it out a little bit. Again, use whatever tool you've got, pencil, pen, what have you. Just make that look a little bit more petally. And there we are. I think that's pretty cool. We've made our little cactus. So when you're ready, you can come and get your bits from me and make your own.